Ever imagine yourself like orchestrating the movement of those massive cargo ships across the globe? And I don't just mean, tracking them on a map, but like really making sure the whole operation runs smoothly. The cargo loading, the routes, navigating international waters, all of it.
It's a lot more complex than people realize.
Right. That's the everyday reality for a vessel operations coordinator. And in this deep dive, we're going to unpack exactly what that entails, what it takes to excel in this, honestly, pretty demanding but also kind of cool field. We'll be drawing insights from RoleCatcher, a really helpful resource for anyone looking into career paths like this one.
Their guides are super detailed.
Yeah, they give you the real inside scoop.
hmm
So let's just jump right in. What does a vessel operations coordinator actually do?
Okay, so imagine air traffic control, but for ships. That's kind of the vibe. A vessel operations coordinator is responsible for optimizing those vessel schedules, making sure everything's timed perfectly and no resources are wasted.
Okay, so we're talking like factoring in things like port congestion, weather conditions, even down to crew availability.
Exactly. It's a constant balancing act, that's for sure.
And it's not just about getting things from point A to point B as fast as possible, right? Our sources at RoleCatcher really emphasize the whole risk assessment side, especially with all the different types of cargo out there.
Oh, absolutely. I
Hmm.
mean, think about it. Managing a tanker full of crude oil is a whole different ballgame than, say, a container ship carrying electronics.
Right, totally different protocols.
Completely. The risks, the safety procedures, even the paperwork involved, it all varies massively. A good vessel operations coordinator needs to be incredibly well versed in all those nuances.
Like having an encyclopedia of cargo in your brain.
Pretty much. And it's not just the practical stuff either. The legal and regulatory side is huge in this field.
Yeah, our research touched on that too. Something about maritime regulations being super complex.
They are. It's not just about knowing how to sail a ship. You're dealing with international laws, ship safety, crew welfare, environmental protection, the whole 9 yards.
So, a vessel operations coordinator is like the guardian of compliance, making sure everything's above board.
Exactly. Obtaining certifications, adhering to emission standards, even managing waste disposal, it all falls under their umbrella. And that's where those strong communication skills come in, which RoleCatcher highlighted as crucial.
Right, because you're not just dealing with paperwork, you're dealing with people, tons of them.
All the time.
Yeah.
You're the link between the ship owners, the clients, port authorities, crew members, insurance companies, everyone. You're the central hub.
Wow, so you've got to be good at navigating those relationships, making sure everyone's on the same page, literally.
Absolutely. Clear communication can make or break you in this role.
It's not all just emails and phone calls, though, right? I was super intrigued by how RoleCatcher described the work environment. It's not your typical desk job, is it?
Definitely not. While a good chunk of it does involve coordinating logistics from an office, many vessel operations coordinators get to travel to different ports, actually board the vessels, and experience things firsthand.
Okay, now that sounds like the adventurous part of the job.
It can be. One day you might be inspecting cargo loading in Rotterdam. The next you could be overseeing a refueling operation in Singapore. It's a global job, for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. RoleCatcher definitely painted a picture of this dynamic, fast-paced, always-on-the-go career path.
That's pretty accurate. It's not a 9 to 5, that's for sure. The shipping industry operates 24/7, so be prepared for some long hours and unexpected curveballs. But honestly, for the right person, someone who thrives on that kind of variety and responsibility, it can be incredibly rewarding.
Right, it's about finding that right fit. Speaking of challenges, though, let's talk about technology for a sec. We've all heard those buzzwords, blockchain, AI, all that. But how are these advancements actually impacting the daily work of a vessel operations coordinator?
That's where things get really interesting. Imagine tracking a shipment of, say, Colombian coffee beans in real time, from the moment they leave Cartagena to the moment they arrive in Seattle, all thanks to blockchain technology.
So we're talking full transparency, knowing exactly where those beans are at any given moment.
Exactly. It helps prevent fraud, streamlines payment processes, and just makes everything so much more efficient. And then you've got AI, which is revolutionizing route optimization.
So not just relying on experience and gut feeling anymore.
Not anymore. AI can analyze weather patterns, ocean currents, even port congestion in real time to determine the most fuel-efficient and cost-effective route.
Which, in this day and age, is more important than ever.
Absolutely. It's about sustainability, minimizing costs, and maximizing efficiency.
This is fascinating stuff. It sounds like if you're even thinking about a career as a vessel operations coordinator, you've really got to stay ahead of that tech curve.
100%. The skills that get you in the door won't necessarily be the ones that take you to the top. Continuous learning is key in this field.
So for those ready to set sail on this career path, where do they even begin?
Well, first, we need to understand the career trajectory. Let's dive into that right after a quick break.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of the Vessel Operations Coordinator. Before the break, we were talking about how technology is changing the game, making the future of shipping look pretty high-tech. But let's get back to you for a second. If this career sounds intriguing, what's the path to actually becoming a Vessel Operations Coordinator?
Well, it's like most fields. You don't just graduate college and bam, you're a vessel operations coordinator.
Right, it's not exactly an entry-level title.
Exactly. It usually starts with, entry-level positions, getting your feet wet in the world of shipping logistics.
So what are we talking about? Internship programs or?
Internships can be a great way to test the waters, but even starting as a logistics coordinator or operations assistant, within a shipping company or maritime agency could be huge.
So it's about building that foundation, seeing how the industry actually operates. RoleCatcher mentioned something about specialization within this field, too. What did they mean by that?
Oh, right. As you get some experience under your belt, you might find yourself drawn to a particular aspect of the work. Some vessel operations coordinators, they become experts in vessel maintenance.
Keeping those massive ships in tip-top shape.
Yes, overseeing everything from routine checks to, major repairs.
Fascinating. So there's a place for someone who geeks out over the mechanics of a ship just as much as someone who loves the logistics of moving cargo around the globe.
Exactly. You got it. Others might find their niche in cargo handling.
Okay, so becoming masters of loading and securing all those different types of goods.
Yes. It's like a giant high-stakes game of Tetris, making sure everything is balanced, secured, and, of course, complies with all those international regulations.
Oh, man. That sounds stressful. Okay, so you start with those entry-level roles, find your niche, and then what? What's the next step up that career ladder?
Well, as you prove yourself, you might move into more supervisory roles. You could become an operations manager, overseeing a whole team of coordinators.
Each one handling their own set of vessels and routes.
Exactly. And then at the very top, you have the fleet managers.
The big bosses.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They're responsible for the entire company fleet, making those big picture decisions.
Wow, from coordinating a single ship to managing an entire fleet, that's quite a journey. But just like those ships navigating busy shipping lanes, you've got to chart your course strategically to reach those top positions, right?
You got it. RoleCatcher really emphasized networking in this industry.
It's not just what you know, it's who you know.
It's more like who knows why you and what you're capable of. Networking can open doors, but you've got to be ready to step through them.
Be ready to, sell yourself.
Exactly. Imagine you're at a maritime conference, right? You start chatting with a seasoned vessel operations manager. They mention a challenge their company is facing, and boom, you chime in with a solution based on your own experience. That's how you make an impression.
It's about being proactive, showing them what you've got. What about showcasing your accomplishments in a more, formal way? Resumes, cover letters, all that.
Those are important, of course, but RoleCatcher really highlighted the importance of a portfolio.
A portfolio. For a job like this, isn't that more of a creative field thing, like for designers or writers?
It's becoming more common in lots of industries, especially those that involve problem solving and managing those high-stakes situations. A portfolio lets you go beyond those bullet points on your resume. You can actually showcase your accomplishments with real-world examples.
So instead of just saying, I'm a problem solver, you're showing them how you solved a specific problem.
Exactly. Did you minimize delays during a hurricane? Ensure the safety of the crew and cargo during a mechanical failure? Those are the kind of stories that make you stand out.
It's about showing, not just telling. Okay, so you've climbed the career ladder, you landed that dream job, you're managing vessels like a pro. What's it actually like? Is it smooth sailing or choppy waters? Let's explore the pros and cons of this career path right after a quick break. And we're back. We've been charting the course to becoming a vessel operations coordinator, from those first steps to building your network and even crafting that killer portfolio.
Quite a journey.
It is, but no job is all sunshine and rainbows, right? So let's get real about the actual rewards and challenges someone can expect once they're, in the thick of this career.
Okay, so on the reward side of things, think global. We're talking a truly international industry.
Right, like we touched on before.
One day you might be coordinating a shipment from Italy, the next you're on the phone with a port in South America. It's constantly changing.
So it's not just about moving cargo, it's about connecting with people and cultures from all over the world.
Exactly. You're right at the heart of international trade. You're facilitating the movement of goods that, I mean, let's face it, they shape economies. They impact lives.
It's easy to forget that, right? Like the clothes we're wearing, the food on our tables, the phones in our pockets, it all probably traveled by sea at some point.
Exactly. And someone had to make sure it got here safely and on time.
And that someone could be you, orchestrating those shipments, making sure everything runs smoothly. That's a pretty tangible impact when you think about it that way.
It is. And that sense of responsibility, that sense of accomplishment. For a lot of vessel operations coordinators, that's huge. Every day brings a new challenge. It's like a new puzzle to solve.
It's a career that keeps you on your toes, for sure, which, can be a good thing if you thrive in that kind of dynamic environment. But you mentioned challenges too, and I know our listeners want the full picture. What are some of the not so glamorous aspects of the job?
Honestly, the schedule can be brutal.
The 204/7 thing.
Yeah, the shipping industry never sleeps. Be prepared for late-night calls, weekend emails. Even holidays aren't off limits when a shipment hits a snag.
So much for that work-life balance everyone's always talking about.
It's more like work-life blend in this field. You got to be adaptable, okay? Comfortable with a certain level of, I don't know, controlled chaos. It's not a career for someone who thrives on routine, that's for sure.
Got it. Flexibility is key. What about the pressure, though? I mean, we're talking about these incredibly high-value shipments. Our sources at RoleCatcher mentioned it can be a very high-stress environment.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure. You're constantly juggling deadlines, navigating delays, making sure the cargo is safe, but also the crew on board.
Right. Those are people's lives.
Exactly. And a single mistake could mean big financial losses, environmental damage. It's serious stuff.
Okay, yeah, the stakes are high. It sounds like this career path really requires a particular kind of person, someone who can handle all that, someone who's not afraid of responsibility, thrives under pressure, can make those tough calls when they need to.
You got it. It's demanding, no question. But for the right person, someone with a genuine passion for the maritime world, someone who loves those logistical challenges, someone who thrives in that fast-paced global environment, it can be incredibly rewarding.
Well, there you have it, folks. We've taken you deep into the world of the Vessel Operations Coordinator, explored the ins and outs of this multifaceted role, unpacked the responsibilities, walked through the career path, even weighed the rewards against the challenges.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. So if you're feeling inspired, if you want to learn more, I highly recommend checking out RoleCatcher. They've got a ton of resources, industry insights, job postings, all tailored to helping you navigate the world of maritime careers. You'll find a link to their site in our show notes.
It's a great place to start.
It really is. And as we always say on the deep dive, the journey of 1,000 nautical miles begins with a single step. Until next time, keep exploring.